He dressed like a billionaire, spoke like a visionary, moved like a king. And for nearly 2 decades, Allen Stanford had everyone convinced he was the next big titan of finance. But it was all a lie. Behind the private jets, the luxury offices, and the magazine covers, there was no empire, just illusion, smoke, and the echoes of a billion-dollar lie. This isn't just a story about fraud. It's a story about how we choose what to believe, and how the wrong belief can cost you everything. Allen Stanford was born in Texas in 1950. He didn't grow up in extreme wealth, but he craved status from a young age. As a young man, he tried real estate, then moved to finance. But his real transformation began when he set his eyes on offshore banking. He moved operations to the Caribbean, Antigua and Barbuda, a quiet place where regulations were weak and money could move freely. There, Stanford created what looked like a legitimate financial institution, Stanford International Bank. He promised high returns, low risk, complete security. Investors loved it. Doctors, teachers, business owners, even entire governments deposited their savings with Stanford. The promise? Returns of 10 to 12%, consistently, year after year. No volatility, no risk, just reward. It sounded too good to be true, because it was. Stanford didn't actually invest the money. He moved it, shuffled it, used new deposits to pay old ones. It was a Ponzi scheme, a giant financial illusion fueled by trust and image. But here's what made it different. Stanford didn't look like a fraud. He looked like success. He wore tailored suits, flew private, sponsored cricket leagues, donated to charities. He even got knighted by Antigua, Sir Allen Stanford. He built his image like a stage, a carefully designed performance, and people applauded. Why? Because he didn't just sell returns. He sold certainty. He made people believe that wealth was easy, as long as you trusted him. By the early 2000s, Stanford had over $8 billion under management. He built a financial empire on lies, and no one noticed. Not regulators, not clients, not even the US government. And as the empire grew, so did the illusion. He threw million-dollar parties, dated models, sponsored cricket tournaments in front of cameras. His name was everywhere, and so was the money. But none of it was real. In 2008, when the global economy shook, people started asking questions. How was Stanford so stable? Why were his returns so perfect? Why did no one actually understand where the money was going? The cracks began to show. In 2009, the SEC moved in. Stanford was arrested, his assets were frozen, and the empire collapsed. When investigators opened the books, they didn't find investments. They found holes, falsified records, billions missing. Over 30,000 people had been defrauded, retirements wiped out, trust destroyed, lives ruined. Allen Stanford was sentenced to 110 years in prison. The illusion was over. But here's the truth most people missed. The illusion only worked because people wanted to believe it. Stanford didn't just manipulate systems. He manipulated desires. People didn't just invest money, they invested hope, security, the dream of effortless wealth. And when a dream looks good enough, even the smartest people stop asking questions. This is where the real lesson begins, not in how he fooled others, but in how we fool ourselves. We chase the image of success. We crave shortcuts. We want to believe that money doesn't need time or work or sacrifice, just the right connection, the right opportunity. Stanford offered the fantasy, and people bought in. Compare him to someone like Ronald Read, a janitor who quietly invested for decades. No parties, no headlines, no empire. But he died with $8 million, built honestly, silently, and slowly. 2 men, 2 fortunes, 2 paths. One was a show, the other was substance. So what's the takeaway? That success without honesty is a ticking bomb. That image means nothing if it's built on air, and that your wealth only matters if it can survive the truth. Stanford had luxury, power, recognition. But in the end, he lost everything. Not just money, but dignity, trust, legacy, because nothing built on illusion lasts. And here's the most important part. You don't need to fake it. You don't need to perform. You don't need to impress strangers to build real wealth. What you need is clarity, discipline, and time. You build something real by doing what no one else wants to do. The quiet work, the long-term moves, the sacrifices that pay off slowly. It's not flashy, but it's unbreakable. So ask yourself, are you building wealth or building the appearance of wealth? Are you chasing results or chasing applause? At Richchemy, we don't just tell stories. We reveal the truth behind money, not to impress you, but to arm you, to show you how real wealth is built and how fake wealth is sold. If you want to learn how to escape the traps and build something no one can take away, then subscribe. Because the next empire you build shouldn't be made of illusion. It should be built to last.